Good morning. So yesterday we showed you some dice games, and they were games that could be used with all ages. So today we're going to be showing you some similar games, but we're going to be using cards. And a lot of the games honestly are pretty much the same game that we did with the dice, but some people, I think more people probably have cards at home than dice. So also one of the changes will be that there's more numbers in a deck of cards. The dice that we used yesterday only went up to 6. You might have dice at home with more sides than 6, but I don't think that people typically have dice at home with more than 6 sides. But if you do, then you could have used those for those games too. So one thing that we did first to start was that we made ourselves a little key because there are face cards, your jacks, queens, kings, and aces. If you wanted to just take those out of the deck, you could do that too. But we made ourselves a little key. So in our games, we were going to say that an ace was worth 1. A jack was a 10. So a 10 would be a 10 and a jack would be a 10. Queen was 11 and a king was 12. And we would kind of pin this up right next to where we were playing the game and have it really readily in view, because some of the games that we're going to play are quick, and when you're adding or multiplying, you would need to know those values pretty quickly. So maybe if you were doing a competition, then you might want to take the face cards out. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is just like with the dice game yesterday. We just started with a greater or less than game. So these are some of your preschool learners or some of your younger learners. You could do greater than or less. So you could use somebody as the dealer. So Kaya's going to scooch over a little bit. Okay, and you're going to deal each person 1 card. Okay, all right, so we both got a jack. Okay, so those are, I'm just going to take those back as the dealer. Okay, because they're the same. So I'm going to put them, I'm going to shuffle those back in, not in the same spot on the bottom, because then they'll come up together again. Okay, so we'll try again. Kaya got a 9, I got a 9. Oh, I'm thinking that maybe somebody went through this deck and matched up a bunch of numbers yesterday, now that I'm thinking about it, didn't they? So let me see if I can maybe shuffle those up a little bit better so that we're not getting all matches. My luck, it won't happen. All right, so let's try again. Kaya got an 8. I got a 6. Who's bigger? 8. Okay, so Kaya gets both of those cards. Kaya got a 6. I got a 5. Who's bigger? 6 or 5? Nope, 6 is bigger. So 6, and again, this is where you can pull those manipulatives in if they're not really sure. Okay, Kaya thought my 5 might be bigger, but we could pull those manipulatives in and compare those. Kaya got a 3. I got a 4. Yep, 4 is bigger, so I get those cards. 7 and 3. Yep, so Kaya gets those cards. Okay, so that's an easy way to play it with greater or less, where you're just deciding which number is bigger or smaller. Another way that we can play it, and this way, you can use addition or multiplication with this way. So obviously I'm going to have to help Kaya out a little bit with this. And you could do this 2 ways. You could have a dealer again, so if that would be easier for you to have one person as the dealer, or you could split the cards. You could deal them, and one person could have half the deck and one person could have half of the deck, depending on how old the child is that you're working with and how they can manipulate the cards, okay? So I'm going to continue to do it as a dealer, but if your child is a little bit older, they probably would be able to hold half the deck of cards and flip one at a time. So now what you could do is you could do addition or multiplication, okay? So deal, we have 8 and 6. So if you're doing adding, 8 and 6 is 14. If you're doing multiplication, 8 times 6 is 48. This one you could do as like a competition game. So I deal a card, whoever shouts out the answer first gets the 2 cards. So a lot of kids love competition type games, so that could be fun to do. So I do deal, whoever shouts it out first and is correct gets the 2 cards. And you can do that with addition, you can do that with multiplication. Another way you could play it is, can I please have the cards? Okay. Another way you can do it is you can split the cards into 2. So Kaya's going to take half the cards. Back up a little bit, please. Okay, and I'm going to take 2 of them, and I'm going to put 2 in front of me, and Kaya's going to put 2 of her cards in front of herself. Okay, put your first 2, put 2 cards out right here in front of you. Okay, so again, this can be addition or multiplication. So Kaya got a 5 and a 6. So if she was adding, she would have gotten 11. If we were doing it as multiplication, it would have been 30. 9 and 7 is 16, or it's 63. So let's say we're doing adding. So 5 and 6 is 11. 9 and 7 is 16. So I won. I had a higher sum. So I would take my cards and her 2 cards. Okay, so that one's not competition as far as who's faster. That one is just 2 cards here, 2 cards here, who has the higher sum or who has the higher product, and taking all 4 cards of whoever ends up having it. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Shouting out with speed or dealing them out different ways. Okay. Also, one last thing is, you know, a lot of friends right now either don't have maybe a sibling that is of an age that they can help right now. And a lot of us, our parents are still working. They're essential workers. So, you know, you're looking at these games like, wow, this looks really fun. But guess what? I don't have somebody at home right now that can play this game with me. So if you have a trusty old little friend, okay, here's Drake. All right, back up so Drake can play, Kai. Okay, here's Drake. All right, we'll pretend that Kaya's not there. She's helping to hold up Drake, but we'll pretend that she's not. And obviously you won't be able to play the games that are the competition games of, you know, shouting out the answers because, I mean, Drake is pretty awesome with his green face paint, but he doesn't shout out answers. But you could still do, yeah. Can he sit down so that he can play, please? All right, sit him down. Okay. So Drake could play, though, if I'm dealing, and there would be a dealer. So I would say 2 for me, 2 for Drake. And Drake got a jack and a 6. So we said a jack was going to be counted as 10. So that would be 16. And my queen was going to be counted as 11. And 7 is 18. Okay, so I got them. So I would take the 4 cards. Okay, again, that was adding. And then I could do that with multiplication too if I wanted to, and it would be kind of funny at the end, you know, to feel proud, wow, I beat a doll, or yikes, a doll beat me at the game. Obviously, it's not really the doll working harder than you. It's just, that's not a competitive game. It's just whichever cards that you get dealt, okay? So you can play them with a dealer, you can play them with putting the pack in half, you can even play them with a toy. Okay, and then it would be a little silly to keep a score sheet and then at the end say, oh man, Mom, Drake the doll beat me today at the math game. I'm going to get him tomorrow, though. All right, hope you enjoyed some of our games and that you are able to use some of them. Hoping to do a science experiment a little bit later in the day today, so look for that. Thanks.